Some of the key issues here, when you stimulate and stimulate and stimulate, there's always limits you come across. And the one I'm seeing here recently is housing. Home prices. Now, the median price, the everyday home, is now up over $394,000. Now, at the top of the last housing bubble in 2006, it was $198,000. And I remember back in the 90s, it was like $120,000, $130,000 from an everyday home. Now, of course, you can adjust for inflation. It would take some of that off, but I'd say housing prices, even adjusted for inflation, are 50 to 60% higher in real terms than they were at the top of the last bubble. So that's one of the big limits here. Obviously, stock markets can go up almost as much as they want before they get so extremely overvalued, but housing's a real thing people have to buy. And so I think that may be a real limit here. Home sales, just since January, down 23%, as home price surges since mid last year have been the strongest we've seen in several years. So I think that's one of the hidden factors that people aren't going to see that's going to cause this economy to start to slow after it's been overstretched so long. I mean, just remember for perspective, on my spending wave, which is the best gauge for where the economy should be with natural forces, when generations are going to spend more and slow down, we're at the bottom, 2020 to 23 of that spending wave in this period. And yet stocks are at all-time highs, like the economy's better than ever. This is all stimulus. Now, the other wild card I discuss in the July newsletter, Bitcoin as usual. Bitcoin, had another big 4-year cycle run. And I'm just looking at some charts recently, and Bitcoin did not get as overvalued by a lot of key indicators in this recent top near 65,000. And it's gotten the most overvalued it's gotten twice in history. Mid 2017, halfway up that historic bubble run, from 3,000 to 20,000, halfway through, it got this overvalued and then had one more surge. And so that's what very much could happen here. And the other time it got this undervalued by technical indicators was back in late 2010, earlier in Bitcoin's history, before its big first surge in 2011. So I've been thinking, gosh, I thought Bitcoin was done here, but there's a good chance it's going to go up to new highs. And I've been doing a lot of research on this. The best forecast from people in the industry I see, fair value on the stock to flow model that I show in the newsletter is 100,000. We haven't even gotten to that yet. It's another sign that how could this be a top? But the best estimates I've seen would project 115,000, going above that fair value, which is what a bubble should do. And remember, Bitcoin thus far has run in very clear 4-year cycles. End of 2013, dramatic top. End of 2017. End of 2021. Now, Bitcoin has been trading sideways after going from near 65 down to 29-ish. So it's in this range between 29 and 36. If it can break above 42,000, I think there's a high chance that it's going to soar. So that's the two surprises, that housing is slowing and nobody's talking about that. If it keeps slowing, that's the biggest thing in the economy. And Bitcoin could have another strong surge, and that brings up the multi-million-dollar question. Does stocks bubble with Bitcoin? Now, certainly not as much. The stocks go to 4,500, even as high as 5,000 if this run keeps going here before they peak with Bitcoin. And I think that's most likely. It is also possible, because there's this mistaken assumption that Bitcoin is the new safe haven, even more than gold. And you notice gold's gone nowhere since Bitcoin came along. It's kind of stolen the thunder. They might, if stocks start to crash here, which my models show, the megaphone pattern, Bitcoin might make an early stage run and say, well, okay, we're the safe haven if stocks are going down. I don't think that's the most likely scenario. I think stocks go up modestly while Bitcoin has a final wild run, because Bitcoin is the bubble of bubbles. So again, I think there's going to be a lot of updates this month, so stay tuned.